Greek god of testicles.
Testies 1, testies 1.
Testes 1, testes 2, testes 1.
I'm triggered now.
Just one testes, I guess.
Could've, would've, should've.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Welcome to the Fantasy Wizards podcast. I'm Tim Wakefield, R.I.P. I'm Justin Verlander, actually.
And I'm R.A. Dickey.
R.A. Dick Butkus? R.A. Dickey Butkus?
R.I.P. for half that.
Yeah. R.A. Dickey still with us, thankfully. We're not losing all the knuckleballers. All right. Today we're talking about some waivers and recapping a pretty poopy week overall. Pretty low fantasy output across the board.
Yeah, I mean, there were about 10 to 15 really good fantasy outputs. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, we had, as far as the guys that hit, I had a couple. Kyron Williams, 21 points in PPR. I'm on Raw. St. Brown Eye.
Yeah, baby.
Give Matt the brown eye.
Yeah.
30 points. Thank God for him going off. You can suck at Brevin. He's off. He is now not for sale.
Yeah, baby.
Just kidding. Anybody's for sale if you trade your entire team to me. If you trade me Jamar Chase, he's definitely for sale. But yeah, and then other guys that went off, Reem Mostert, still reaming.
Yep. Also, old guy Thielen.
Old guy Thielen, yeah, he's a big surprise this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's super safe.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I mean, he's probably in your flex, and he's the perfect flex because you weren't picking him up early in the draft.
Yeah, I think he's great for wide receiver too, honestly. To put him in your one, that means, not one, but like two. Yeah, I think he's a great wide receiver too.
Yeah,
honestly, and then you could flex someone like Josh Downs if the rest of your team is pretty well stacked. Like, I don't know, he's super great. And then we had a ton of duds. We can't name them all, but just like another great guy, Ramondre. I'm sure you're happy about him.
Yeah, I mean, he had a good matchup, so I'm happy now. Yeah, but the Patriots, not a good outlook the rest of the season, so maybe I try to get rid of him after this week. He's got another good matchup.
Yeah, I mean, kind of seeing that across the board, that you want to stay away from teams that are like just bad, even if they have like good producers on them, like the Giants or the Patriots or the other one's kind of escaping me. Maybe the Cardinals to some degree, but it's like you can't really have good producers on these teams. Yeah, Hollywood, I guess, but
yeah, Cleveland's not scoring a lot, but Amari Cooper is good for them. Yeah, I agree. There's those one player output teams, and everybody else you're not taking a shot on.
Yeah, we had that upset this week. Cleveland upsetting the Niners. What do you think about
Jets upsetting the Eagles too?
Yeah, Jets upsetting the Eagles. What do you think about PJ Walker? Obviously not for fantasy starts, but as far as how he helps the prospects of the rest of the Browns, the running backs, Ford and Hunt, and Amari Cooper. What do you think about his?
Well,
compared to Watson,
I mean, there's a reason he's in the league, and he's bounced around to teams. He's a decent backup. He showed out when he was in the XFL or CFL or whatever it was a couple years ago. He's just a proven good backup.
No, you're thinking of the Braun Panties NFL.
Yeah, lingerie football.
Lingerie football, yeah. You're
Braun Panties, what are those called? I just can't figure out how to unsnap those on the backside.
Yeah. But you know who can figure it out? Your fave ex-boyfriend. That's why he's the ex, because he was so good at it that we had to break up with him.
XFL, baby.
Your fave XFL boyfriend.
Yep.
Shoot. Yeah. Where was I going? Anyways, you take the reins.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Phillip Walker's a great backup.
PJ Walker?
PJ Walker. Phillip Junior Walker. That's his name. I'm just
Junior.
kidding. I don't know his real name, but yeah, if
Phillip Junior Walker.
all we got to say about him is if you don't know what a PJ is, you can't afford it.
Yep. HJs, BJs, and PJs.
Yep.
One of those is not like the others.
So, anyways, let's get into the injuries this week. There's a lot of key players that went down, maybe for just a week, maybe for longer. So, first off, what about CMC? Right now, they're waiting on an MRI about, I think it's a rib injury. So, what do you think outlook is for picking up backups this week? I know we'll talk about waivers later, but
I like picking up for the backups. Jason Mason. Frick. What is his first name?
Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason. I wish his name was Jason Mason. I'd pick him up.
Jason Mason.
I'd give him much more fab dump if his name was Jason Mason.
Yeah.
But Jordan Morton, I'll spend like, I don't know. It's tough because on the one hand, looks like CMC's not going to be out for that long.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get much run time out of Jason Mason, Jordan Mason. But then again, CMC has an injury history. So do you think CMC might miss more time than we're looking at here?
I don't think he has a history with this type of injury. So
oblique, right?
Yeah, oblique. I think. I mean, based on the MRI, the news this week, you'll figure out. Hopefully, it comes out today before you put fab money on your waivers. But yeah, just be wary and adjust your fab accordingly. But yeah, even Elijah Mitchell is out of the realm of possibility to put a fab offer on because he's proven himself prior to CMC for this 49ers offense. Maybe he just had lower snap count for certain reasons and game planning. So
yeah, I see kind of like DeMarcado last week. Like the starter goes down, we don't really know what's going to happen on the backups. If you take a fab dump on somebody, you like the dump is gonna come right back around to you. It could.
Yeah.
Like you might just be taking a dump on yourself. Like we had one guy in our league this past week who happened to beat you this past week, but he dumped all of his fab on DeMarcado.
Yeah.
And DeMarcado was irrelevant the whole game. So.
I mean, there's a reason why his team name is Herder.
Yeah.
But anyways, David Montgomery, he's out.
His team is really good. He's second in the league this year. He's stirring it up.
No, he's my boy. No, David Montgomery's cartilage issue with his ribs. He's probably going to be out a couple weeks. So you hate to hear that. He's been like a fantasy god because you picked him up so late in the draft. I mean, yeah, if you want, Jahmyr Gibbs seems to be kind of questionable still. He is looking to actually play this week, but
I see Jahmyr Gibbs as like great coming up because Montgomery's gonna miss his time. It's gonna be Jahmyr Gibbs a shot. He's not gonna. Yeah. I mean, that's how I see it. But.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm a Jahmyr Gibbs owner, so I think it's tough. I don't like what I've seen this year so far. So and he's injured, coming off his injury, so. I don't know that they'll even have him on a high snap count.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. The Lions have been crushing it with passing attack, so they have been crushing it with David too, but we'll see how things shift over there.
Justin Fields, doubtful this week.
Yep. Sucked. I won my matchup even though he came out with 5 points. I still won, but dislocated thumb. We're going to see what they say about this upcoming week. I personally feel like he'll miss a week, at least. I doubt he would miss a ton more than that, but I think he'll miss a week. So I'm going to be pivoting, looking for quarterback streamers. I know Jared Goff is out there on the wire. That's who I'm looking at. But as far as other quarterback streamers, we're not super.
Yeah. What if Justin Fields is in this week? Even with his thumb injury, they tape it up to try to get it going. Are you confident in starting him?
Not. Who are the Bears playing this upcoming week?
The Bears are against the Raiders.
Yeah, I like that matchup.
Yeah, it's a good matchup.
Given the state of wire quarterbacks in our league, I think Stroud's on bye this week. I would probably stick with him I think his ceiling, unless the Bears come out and say he's going to be limited, specifically, I'd probably still roll with him. But yeah, you just got to keep tabs on that, and hopefully there will be more news coming out today. If you're a Fields owner, keep tabs on that news before you spend some money on a wire quarterback. Because you're not, if you're a Fields owner, you're still looking to be a Fields owner for the rest of the season, and you're not gonna be pivoting for more than a week probably to different quarterbacks. So. No need for a fab dump.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you got so many good matchups this week. Even just a 0 bid on Josh Dobbs could still win you the week.
Ooh, yeah, Josh Dobbs. So how about these Tallboy bets this past week?
Yeah, it's not been great for me. I lost both of them, but you want to crack one open
let's
for
crack,
the
let's
audio?
Crack, let's crack one open here.
Okay.
Crack your phone while we crack open a beer.
Oh, shit.
There
Damn
we go.
Oh,
We'll get it later.
Yeah,
we
cracking my phone.
We got a beer spill.
Spilling my beer. I got
losing the bets.
Oh my goodness! What am I doing here?
We got the
maybe a few napkins over here.
Yeah, grab those napkins, and we're gonna get the nice audio here of this crack. Oh yeah!
Wow. Yep. So
we just lost the champagne of beers all over the floor.
Yeah, it's a shame, but we'll live.
That'll be the intro for this podcast. Sure. Maybe I'll make a beat out of it. And but probably not. So yeah, CJ Stroud got 14 points in PPR, so I won that one. And then the over-under definitely did not hit for the Cowboys-Chargers.
Yeah.
And
that's why I don't bet anymore. I mean, Tallboy bets are great, but not real money.
I don't remember whose idea it was for the CJ Stroud bet. I think both of these were your idea.
Yeah.
I know the Chargers Cowboys one was definitely yours.
I like to bet a lot, but
yeah, man. If this bet was on DraftKings, they'd keep track of your L's.
Yeah,
you know, just so you don't get roped in.
Yeah.
I'll continue to remind you of your L's so you don't get roped in.
Yeah. DraftKings wouldn't need a beer budget for their staff if I kept betting these tall boys with them.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start advertising for Miller High Life if you keep.
Yeah,
they're.
This is one of my favorite beers. Yeah.
All right, what's next? We moving into waivers or?
Well, just one. Kyron Williams is expected out this week too. Another injury kind of came up,
ankle issue.
So no, I was just talking about a couple questions. So, with Zach Moss not going away, what about can I start JTT confidently? What do you think about
we're
this
getting
question?
more into JTT start territory.
Yeah.
With each passing week, the confidence grows. So it depends on your running back situation and your team situation, but I think he's flexible.
Yeah, at least he's in your flex. You got him deep in your roster in the draft, so not too deep. But yeah, I mean, and if you're a Zach Moss owner, just keep starting him until he poops the bed. Like
we said last time, just keep riding that wave until the wave crashes.
Yeah, here's a good question. Should I trade for Drake London, seeing how he has a lot of juicy matchups coming up? No! I like this question because this dude has been balling. He has scored close to 20 fantasy points the past 2 weeks, and he is facing like the 10th best matchup, the 6th best matchup, the 8th best matchup, the 2nd best matchup. Like 6 weeks from now, he has like all really good matchups coming up.
Yeah, I hit that no drop sarcastically. You can't really catch the sarcasm through the drops, but Drake London, Falcons passing attack actually picking it up. So I wouldn't say I'm high on the Falcons passing like I was on the Texans, but
no,
we're you were definitely startable territory here for Mr. London.
If he's definitely someone I would be super confident in flexing. So yeah, as far as trading for, I think he's a sneaky good like I mean, you're buying him high, but you might not have to give up a lot because of his name, you know. Maybe you can trade someone.
Because he's Drake, the most popular rapper of our time?
Yeah.
Or London, one of the most populous cities of our time?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great name.
It's a great name.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think he's not literally like, you know, I think you could trade DK Metcalf for him or somebody with a bigger name that's not performing as much, because he's got just great matchups coming up for the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, I definitely feeling Drake London for sure. I mean, who else would you throw out there? Like Big Sean Paris? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or like
Diddy
Kong?
No.
Diddy Berlin?
Yep.
I don't know. We got 1,000 of these name generators here. Insert hip hop guy, famous hip hop guy plus European city.
Yep. Future.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he just has one name. Damn it.
No, that's Drake is just one name. Yeah. Future Venice.
Okay. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, if I would definitely be targeting Drake London, somebody who's sneaky, not big name, nobody's really paying attention, and I doubt the owner is even like really looking up at future matchups. Just probably didn't even start Drake London and was like, damn, oh, he's doing well.
Yeah, it's been tough for London owners this year, but I think we're brighter days are ahead. Anything else you want to talk about this past week as far as like summation, what you think about the whole week? You know, like anything that stands out to you in the world of fantasy? I mean, other than just the theme of it being pretty down, dud week.
Yeah,
injuries
are common, so be prepared. It's better to be preventative medicine rather than treating it later.
What do you thinking about as far as like fab dump strategy? If you have dumped all your fab, you made your bed, but if you still have fab left, you know, how are you spending? Are you going conservative this week? Are you going a little bit stronger? I mean, it's all relative. Depends on your position in the standings.
Yeah.
But this week I don't think is a great week for fab dumpage.
No, not necessarily, but I think there's some great plays because this week. So if you're needing a win, you're needing something to kickstart. I mean, don't go out and waste your fab, but definitely there's some fair amount of waivers that you can throw a good amount at.
Yeah, I think small fab drops in different areas are better than a big drop on one guy hoping that he's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
At least for this week. All right, so we ready to move on to some waivers?
Yep, let's get into it.
All right.
You play to win the game.
Who are we playing this week to win the game?
Why don't we start with QBs? I forget who's on bye this week. We got the Texans for sure.
Texans are on bye. I would totally look up who's on bye if my duplex mate didn't change the internet to F you all and then block us all from the internet. So.
It's all good.
AT&T, F you all. This podcast sponsored by Comcast.
Yeah, I'll look it up, but I think there's 4 this week now. But let's start with the QBs. So obviously we've already talked up Sam Howell and CJ Stroud. I've talked up Jordan Love. He has a great matchup this week.
Yep.
What do you think about those 3 options as far as?
I haven't really talked up Jordan Love. I mean, you talked him down, especially after that Raiders game.
Yeah, but I mean, it sucked, but they're coming off a bye. He's probably got 2 weeks to prepare for his next matchup, and it's a great matchup.
Against
Denver, so he's the second best as for quarterbacks. So
yeah, I like it. I like the Jordan Love start, mostly just because it's against Denver. Quarterback streaming is one where you do need to take advantage of those matchups. Generally, the trends follow those matchups unless they are those tier 1 quarterbacks that are safe, which Jordan Love is not. So Jordan Love, pretty good option. Brock Purdy, Remember you talking him up. He didn't have such a great game against the Browns. Browns
No.
defense is really good, though. What do you think about Brock Purdy for a stream?
I think he's pretty decent this week if he's not the one of the teams on bye.
Is he?
I don't know. I mean, everybody's talking about Jordan Mason picking him up, so maybe they're not this week because that would be kind of something they would specifically say. But I mean, I think Brock Purdy's always a safe floor, and based on his matchup, I think he could be potential started. I like my favorite stream this week for quarterbacks that are definitely on the waiver wire is Geno. They're facing Arizona. It's the 5th best matchup for quarterbacks. Geno's just a proven leader scorer. He finished 5th in fantasy points last year. He's got off to a slow start, but in good matchups, I think you can be confident in starting him. And then obviously you talked up Jared Goff. I mean, I think he's proven to be matchup independent. He had a tough matchup last week again.
Yep.
Another bad matchup for quarterbacks, and he scored 22 points.
Yep, and he's got a terrible one this week against the Ravens defense.
Yeah.
But, I would start him against the Ravens for sure. I mean, I'm in your boat at this point. Like when I talked about the teams that are crappy, like Giants, Cardinals, Patriots, Jets to some extent, like how you don't want a piece of those teams. The Lions are the opposite. They're a great team, and you want pieces on that team, including Jared Goff.
Brock Purdy's got a good matchup against Minnesota. He's 88% rostered now, though. So Minnesota, he should easily go back up to 20 points this week. So if he's on your waiver wire, you can get Brock Purdy too. I agree with you. I didn't have him on the waivers because he's such high percentage owned, I think. But I did have Jared Goff, who's 83, I guess. But I just wanted to talk about him being matchup independent mostly. But yeah, that should be good for quarterbacks. There's a lot of options there. I mean, if you want to rank them, I mean, obviously start with Jared Goff, Brock Purdy. But if you can't get them, I would definitely go Jordan Love, Sam Howell, Geno Smith.
Yeah, Geno, he really didn't have a great game against the Bengals this last week. But the Bengals D really kind of schemed against Seattle's offense pretty well, and I could see Geno as a bounce back candidate, but I like basically most of the other options. Instead of Geno here, I just see him as like high variance, and he could crash.
Yeah,
the
I
whole
agree.
team.
Yeah, maybe that just spells better for the wide receivers in this matchup.
So this week we have the Panthers, Texans, Titans, Jets, Cowboys, and Bengals on bye.
Whoa.
So quite a lot.
I didn't even realize it was like 6 teams.
Yeah. We're definitely into streaming waiver territory here, so we might need to dig deep. All right, let's move on to some running back streams.
I told you to take the wizard's stop!
All right.
Well, we brought him up already. Why don't we just talk about Jordan Mason? I mean, I'm thinking McCaffrey's probably going to be out this week. So, as far as Fab, what are you spending on him?
Yeah, just because it's a short-term situation and it is McCaffrey. Like, there's no way that Jason Mason's going to take over the
Jason Mason, baby. I
he's
love
not
it.
going to do it. Jason Mason born. He's not gonna take over the backfield. Even if he gets like 30 points, he's not gonna take over the backfield. It's gonna be impressive, but when McCaffrey comes back, that's his backfield. So, depending on your situation, I would go from 5 to 15%. I wouldn't really go higher than 15% on him. If you're desperate for a running back play this week, you really need to win. Maybe your team is 1-4, 0-5. Actually, those numbers aren't possible because we played 6 games. So if your team is 1-5, 0-6, you're really desperate like that. you got to drop your fab on somebody. So that's what I would put on him, Jordan Mason. And then Zach Evans, kind of a sneaky pickup. I actually heard about this guy through another podcast on YouTube I was listening to. I forget the name of. I would shout him out, but as far as like they were talking about deep leagues to pick up Zach Evans, like 14-team leagues. But now he becomes a lot more relevant in 10 and 12-team leagues with Kyron Williams getting an injury.
I mean, I agree. Zach Evans is probably the number 2, if not the number 3.
Yeah, this would be a heavy fab dump if, again, the thing is Kyron Williams is it's a short term. He's going to miss probably just a week, but it is a little more intriguing because it's not McCaffrey. He's not locked in. Like, let's say Jason Mason has I gotta start calling him by his name. Jordan Mason.
Yeah.
If he has a bomb game, gets 30 points, then McCaffrey comes back the next week, Jordan Mason instantly irrelevant.
Yeah.
If Zach Evans does it when Kyron comes back, it could be a split. It could even be the Zach Evans show. I think Sean McVay is a lot more variable. I mean, we saw him just throw away Cam Akers and just move to Kyron. So
yeah, I agree.
Zach Evans is the play there if you're looking for a long-term solution. I'd probably spend a little bit more on Zach Evans just for that reason.
That's good logic. I never really thought about it like that. So, I mean, yeah, he could move up above Jordan Mason. I just like
above Kyron.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
you mean
okay. As far as the pickups this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. So I mean, if I guess you're shooting your shot on whoever. I mean, if you're the McCaffrey owner, maybe you're going after Jordan Mason more because you want to keep him as the handcuff this year. And if you're just needing a running back and you don't have any of these guys, yeah, Zach Evans is a great pickup as well. That's why he's the second one we brought up.
And if you're the Kyron owner like myself, you should prioritize Zach Evans.
Yeah. So, I mean, Craig Robinson is next. Craig Reynolds, sorry. Craig Robinson is
here's to you, Mrs.
Is a comedian, but he's from The Office. But anyways, if you want to try to pick someone up that is like a little deeper, a little cheaper, I'm looking at maybe him. Because Jahmyr Gibbs is coming off his injury. I really don't know if he's going to play that much in his snaps, and he's been limited throughout the whole season. So I'm pretty sure Dave Montgomery's going to be out a couple weeks, if not more. Maybe you'll see this guy thrown into that role, just vulturing all the touchdowns, vulturing all the touches.
Yeah. It's really hard to predict these running backs that come up. Like the only ones like there's some that that are just like instantly elite dogs if the starter goes down. Tank Bigsby being one, Rico Dowdle. Those guys are instant fab dumps if their starters goes down. These guys they're parts of a committee. In some cases, most of the cases, they haven't gotten any NFL touches at all yet. They're unproven. So we just don't know. It's really hard to know what to spend on them. So that's just why we give these recommendations. But it's tough. But yeah, Craig Reynolds.
If you're balling on a budget, what do you think about Elijah Mitchell instead of Jordan Mason? I mean, they both got to see the field last week after CMC went down.
I'd rather pick up Jordan Mason just because he's more of an unknown. Elijah Mitchell has like seen the field and everyone knows who he is. So I would take my shot on the more unknown guy. Personally.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jordan Mason has been there too. I mean, I've heard his name in fantasy and seen his output before a couple of years ago.
I was just looking for Jason Mason, I guess. That's why I didn't hear him about it.
Okay. And then obviously you already know these names. Kareem Hunt. He's starting to outtouch Jerome Ford. If he's on your waivers, I mean, you think this is a good option?
Sorry, just laughing about the cum rag on the floor.
Oh yeah.
Who'd you just say?
The beer cum rag. It's on
the beer
floor.
cum rag. The champagne of cum rags. Who are we talking about?
Kareem Hunt.
Oh, Kareem Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy that I know.
Sorry,
so well.
I'm moving around a lot. I'm just confusing you.
No, we're old guys and we need to exercise our backs. Because sitting is hard when you're over 30. Kareem Hunt.
He scored like 15 fantasy points this week. Jerome's scored 11. I mean, I think Jerome Ford still saw the field a fair amount of snaps, but I think Kareem Hunt out-touched him and out-snapped him this week.
And we could be looking at like a Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt situation from years past where they're getting splits, but they're both fantasy relevant. It could be something like that. So
I mean, he's got a good matchup this week, Kareem Hunt. So if he's on your waivers,
I like Kareem more than any of the other, more than Jason Mason, more than Zach Evans.
Yeah, he's higher percentage on for sure. He's like 50, 60%.
Yeah, I'd be willing to spend 25% on Kareem Hunt, probably. That's what I would go up to. I'm cheap with my fab, just I'm cheap in real life, and it's probably going to be my downfall in fantasy.
Well, I mean, and then A.J. Dillon, he's got a great matchup this week. So if you're Aaron Jones owners or if you just have A.J. Dillon, I mean, he's got a lot of skill, talent, but it hasn't really performed. He hasn't been performing on the field.
He's a great
for some
talent.
reason.
But
if he ends up being the workhorse back because Aaron Jones is out, he's got a great matchup this week. So maybe a daily fantasy pull. Who knows? Okay. Well, on to the wide receivers.
Yeah. Just note Tajay Spears. Gotta cool our jets on Tajay Spears. He's not the guy yet.
Yeah.
Everyone wants him to be the guy, but he's not yet.
Yeah. So. Yeah, he'll have his up and down weeks.
All right. Let's move on and talk about the ball catchers.
Are you kidding me? That's why I don't read the newspaper. Because it's garbage. And the editor that let it come out is garbage. Where are we at in society today? I'm a man. I'm 40.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
that last guy was Adam Thielen.
But so with the wide receivers, I mean, we can just go through this list pretty quick. There's not a lot of breakouts this week that are on. I mean, Josh Downs, we already talked about, got his first career touchdown. Gardner Minshew is going to be in for a while. Maybe if he's still there, give him a shot as a stash. What I should have done a Tall Bet Boy on was. Who I should have done it on was Curtis Samuel. He outscored the rest of the wide receivers on Washington.
He got more than McLaurin.
Yep. So he's just balling right now. Probably due to what I've said. Ron Rivera knows him, had him in Carolina. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a great stash. Somebody picked him up in our league, so I wish I would have done it and started him instead of.
I feel about Curtis Samuel the way that everyone pretty much has felt about Adam Thielen. Just like, I'm not a believer in Samuel, but maybe he'll keep doing it and prove me wrong.
Yeah.
So, I'll pick him up for sure.
And then Romeo Doubs, he's coming off the bye. He's getting a lot of targets.
We're still talking about him on waivers because he's like not owned.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
He's a great talent. He's a big guy. Can catch a lot of balls. So.
Yeah, he should definitely be owned in your league. I'd spend more on him than Samuel for sure.
Yep.
Josh Reed Downs, we already talked about him last week. Still not showing any signs of missing chromosomes. He is crushing it out there with Minshew.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, DJ Chark, he didn't really score very much, so, but he's another, if there's good matchups, he gets a fair amount of targets. So let's go on to the tight ends.
All right.
You don't play to just play it.
Okay, waiver tight ends.
Yep. There's a lot of buys this week. These are the best that I kind of looked up as far as getting targets and having great matchups. This week, Jonnu Smith is probably on your waivers. He's only 19% owned. Great matchup. Kyle Pitts has actually been doing good this past 2 weeks, and it's a trend because Jonnu Smith is scoring basically around the same amount of fantasy points, 14-15, as Kyle Pitts. So it seemed to be using two tight ends on the field all the time. I see Jonnu Smith as a good pickup this week if you need a tight end due to all those buys.
Okay. Yeah, because there are a lot of teams on bye. You're going to be needing to fill some spots here. I don't really like it because of the competition with Kyle Pitts. I like teams that have more clear-cut tight ends, tight end ones. But, yeah. No,
he is averaging 8 targets a game.
8 targets?
For the
that's really good.
So that's really good for tight ends.
Yeah.
So
I just hope Desmond Ridder can keep it up. And yeah, I'm looking more like a wait-and-see approach here in this game. But if he does well this game, I'll definitely jump on board.
Yep. So we talked about Austin Hooper last week. We couldn't even remember a tight end. And I totally forgot that Michael Mayer, the Notre Dame rookie for the Las Vegas Raiders, he kind of broke out this week. Las Vegas does not target the tight ends hardly at all. That's why we didn't even remember who was the tight end.
Wait. Austin Hooper, Michael Mayer, Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So essentially, I think
Mike Myers
he's
joke.
5% owned. If you're looking for upside rookie tight end, big hype coming in. As far as a rookie draft goes, not as far as like fantasy production, but I mean, if they'll start targeting the tight ends, you saw Laporta do good in Detroit. I see him as a decent stash if you have a pretty bad tight end or you're streaming every week.
You're talking about Austin Hooper or Mike Myers?
Michael Mayer.
Mike Mayer. Yeah. Okay. Give him a stash. And then up next?
Well, we already talked about it. It's Casey Musgrave's brother, Luke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he has an amazing matchup. First, against Denver again, they allow fantasy points to all positions. So, honestly, your best bet is to start him this week if you're streaming because he's got a great matchup. Hopefully, he doesn't give you a dud due to injury like he did the last good matchup, but he should be all right.
I think Luke is an every week startable tight end. So, I mean, yeah, that's my opinion on Luke. So that's it for tight ends, eh?
Yeah.
All right.
A lot of good ones on bye this week in the waivers, so
yep. All right.
I want to pick them up.
Cool. Let's talk about streaming Ds.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Let's hit the right sample.
Bears are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
Who are we letting off the hook?
As
On the hook.
far as defenses, who is your favorite out of
the ones you wrote down?
Out of the ones I put in the show notes. Let's start there.
Man, I mean, there's some juicy ones in here.
There's a lot of good matchups, man.
There's a lot of juicy ones in here. I can't help but I like the Packers against Denver. I mean, anybody that's playing Denver. The Bears and Raiders. I'm gonna have to go with the Bears and Raiders one because Justin Fields, if he misses this week, and then the combination of the running back situation in Chicago, Deonta Foreman probably still the starter. We know Khalil Herbert's out. Roshan Johnson may be back, but like, I just really like that start so much.
Yeah, actually, both teams are potentially going to start their backup quarterbacks in this matchup. So I think either one is good start this week.
Bears defense,
Bears and Raiders. Yeah, Bears are 1% owned. If you're easily going to be able to get them.
And Brian Hoyer for the Raiders.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Brian Hoyer, just that name. I want the defense against Brian Hoyer.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I talked about Houston when they were 1% owned. I mean, maybe the Bears can give you a good start this week. So what about Green Bay? You already talked about Green Bay, but what about Tampa Bay at Atlanta?
Yeah,
or versus Atlanta. So home.
When I was talking about Green Bay, actually, like I was imagining the Broncos defense, but this is Green Bay's defense against the Broncos offense. So
yeah,
I had the champagne and beers kind of like mess with my head, I guess, a little bit there. So I don't like it as much anymore. But still okay. Broncos offense is not the hottest.
It's the 7th best matchup. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
It's fine. And then Tampa Bay versus Atlanta.
They have a pretty decent defense. So I mean, they're performing really well. They're keeping teams under a fair amount of points due to their offense not really performing this season. So I think that trend continues, and I think against Atlanta, it's the 6th best matchup for defenses.
I don't love it maybe as much as you do now, because we are talking about how Atlanta's kind of on the up. Their passing game is on the up. We know their running game is really strong with Bijan and Algier. So if they get their passing attack going, I think they could be a really potent offense, and I think they're on the rise. So I don't want to run into that buzzsaw. I think not a buzzsaw, but I'm looking elsewhere.
Okay, well, this is the one I really want to. No, this is the one I really want to highlight, though. Is Washington Commies? They're 31% on. They're coming off their bye. I think they're not coming off the bye. Sorry, they're facing the Giants, which is the best matchup for defenses in the entire league.
This is a really great matchup.
Yep. They kind of. They're underperforming with all the talent they have on their defense. So that's what is kind of worrisome, because they do have, Chase Young. They have really good names on that defense, but they're just not performing great.
Yeah. The Bears did gash them on Thursday Night Football a couple weeks ago. But they are, I recommended the Dolphins defense against the Giants, way less talented than the Commies. So yeah, this is juicy. This is a juicy one here.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, a lot of buys this week. So, look deep in your waivers, find the good matchups. But these pretty much should be a good start to find what you need to fill in your gaps.
Yeah, got a lot of good options out there. So, good luck on waivers, everybody. And then keep those wands up and dump those wands into your fab dump. Don't sacrifice your wands, okay? Spend your money and not your magic.
Yep.
All right.
Wands up, baby.
Wands up. See you for the next one.
Jet fuel and stuff.
Jet fuel. Jet fuel can't melt steel wands.